See, there's a few people starting
Yeah,
to join.
I love it. Hello, everybody. Welcome. We'll wait just a minute to let everybody get into the webinar room here. Glad to have you joining us. All right. Okay, Tom, should we roll?
Yeah.
All right, great. Welcome, everybody. My name is Bridget Ling. I am the VP of Marketing here at Pitcher. We are really excited to have you all with us today as we talk about Revenue Enablement 2.0 in the wealth and asset management space, focusing especially on AI, hyper-personalization, and how those two merge to ensure the future of client success. And I'm excited to be joined by my friend and colleague, Tom Stone. Tom is the Director of Sales here at Pitcher. Tom has over 10 years of experience in SaaS enterprise sales, and he has led Pitcher's sales team since 2021. Tom, it is great to be with you.
Yeah, very pleased to be here. Thanks, Bridget.
Yeah. Well, let's get started today by just surveying the landscape of wealth and asset management in 2025. There are four main points that stand out to us that are critically important in that landscape for this year. And we're going to talk about them here and kind of dive into how their impact is being felt throughout the client engagement experience. The first is that financial advisors need to strike a balance between being prepared, personalizing their content, all the while being as efficient as possible. And how do you do all of that at one time? Clients are expecting customization and hyper-personalization. And that one way to achieve that is through the use of disruptive technology and the integration of AI. Financial service organizations are adopting AI in new and exciting ways. I read a quote or a survey recently that 264 wealth and asset managers were surveyed, and over 80% surveyed are using disruptive technology or technology that fundamentally changes how they do business to fuel revenue growth. That's a staggering number, expected with how commonplace AI and the integration of is becoming. But disruptive technology is definitely making its impact felt in this industry. And I also read an article recently by PwC that highlighted the use of AI to stay competitive, that companies that know how to leverage AI and those that use data at scale to create a more personalized experience will be more competitive. And I'm going to just read a quick quote from that article. Quote, "The AI advantage rests on data, humans, and technology. The rapid adoption of AI is reshaping the sector, moving beyond experimentation to embrace agentic workflows. By combining the power of AI with data, top talent, and strategic technology modernization, financial institutions can define a new era of competitiveness." And all the while doing this while maintaining compliance. It's a new landscape, isn't it? So, and we here at Pitcher are talking a lot about Revenue Enablement 2.0. Revenue Enablement 1.0 was a nice to have in the industry, but with the advancements of technology and innovation in the space, it's leading us to a more robust AI-forward approach of what we call Revenue Enablement 2.0, something that's really mission critical and very AI-forward in its approach. And Tom, do you want to walk us through the difference of Revenue Enablement 2.0?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Bridget. So I think the key thing here is when you think about Revenue Enablement 1.0, it's become rather static, and it's not at the top of the technology field. And I think one thing that's really important now is organizations should be demanding far more from revenue enablement. And when you look at the technology that now exists, you have Revenue Enablement 2.0. So it's around being able to have the content and the coaching of Revenue Enablement 1.0, but done better. It's leveraging AI. So it's now bringing AI to the forefront of advisors' reality. It's creating a comprehensive selling experience, which really plays and looks to address two key personas. You have the advisor, and then you have the most important person of all, the client. So it's how are you able to elevate the advisor and completely transform the way that the client engage with the advisor's advice. Fourth is the ability to unify complex data sets. Now, one thing that 1.0 doesn't do is it doesn't pull in, and it doesn't really take into consideration the tech stack that's sitting around it. Organizations have multiple different platforms at their disposal, and within those platforms is key data. And one thing that Enablement 2.0 is able to do is bring all of that data to the forefront of an advisor's reality. So it's bringing everything into one consolidated experience that both elevates advisor and, most importantly, the client experience. And then that's achieved. So point 4 is really achieved, and actually 4 to 1 are achieved from operational integration. And one thing that Enablement 2.0 does is it brings everything that the modern advisor needs to both prepare, run, and execute their client meetings into one consolidated experience. And I use the term experience because I think Enablement 2.0 or Revenue Enablement 2.0 is an experience. It's completely changing the way that advisors work. It's making them more efficient. It's helping them to elevate, and it's making it easier for the client to engage with the advice that they're being given. Yeah. And that's part of what we're going to touch on today and bring a bit of light to what is Revenue Enablement 2.0.
Yeah, thanks. That's great. So as we transition here to looking at how do wealth and asset management organizations begin to dig into the options that are available to all of you, are your tools working hard enough for you and your clients? We frequently hear about challenges from our clients in the space. We're unsure how to implement AI while also prioritizing security. Our customers and our clients are expecting customized solutions. It's adding complexity and inefficiencies to the relationships, but we know it adds value. With that in mind, how can organizations drive towards adoption of modern solutions that really support personalized engagement while picking up those efficiency gains along the way? And so are your tools working hard enough for you? Let's take a look at these 6 ways in which really the technology solutions can offer a lot of personalization and efficiency gains along the way through these 6 ways. Tom, give us a little preview of what we're going to take a look at.
Yeah, so I think this is really interesting because one thing that's especially obvious in 2025 is technology is changing, and it's changing very quickly. And the technology now exists to bring in these efficiencies. And it's now around, and what we're going to touch on today, because you don't just want to hear us speaking, you want to actually see some of the technology which is now available to you. So we're going to show you what you should be demanding, what you should be bringing into your organization as mission critical. And it's around personalized advisor experience. We want you to be able to put everything your advisors need into one system. Within that technology, we want to be able to make sure that critical things like agenda creation and client insights is pulled to the forefront of that advisor's reality. It's then when we start to move the focus very much on the client. So how does technology now allow you to create compliant and customized dynamic experiences, or what is known in the technology we're going to see today as pitch decks? And then it's leveraging the technology that sits around technology such as pitches. So it's that integration, and how can integrating into other systems make for a better experience for both advisor and client. The 5th point, which we're going to touch on because I think it's really important, is how you can access real-time data and analytics. You're actually going to see this as we start from point 2 onwards. So it's something which the data exists, and now technology is enabling you to be able to bring that into one experience. And then the final one, which is, I think, always on the mind of anybody that is giving financial advice or presenting content, or marketing teams that are helping to create content to share with clients, is compliance. So it's about being able to do everything we just discussed in a compliant way, end to end. So the minute the advisor starts accessing systems and technology, they're working in a very compliant way. You maintain the control you need. And that's what we're going to touch on over the next 15 minutes, because we want to make sure, obviously, we have time to field any questions.
Great. Yeah, that's great. So on that note, let's dive in. And as Tom mentioned, if you have questions at any point, drop them in the questions tab at the bottom of your screen. We're happy to stop along the way, and we'll also leave time at the end for questions. All right. So Tom, the first three points that you mentioned, they're the first three we're going to look at: personalized advisor experience, agenda creation, client insights, and customized dynamic pitch decks. We're actually going to go in and take a look at how this is done, where in the platform, and you can kind of walk us through some of the 2.0 features and benefits on how this really is mission critical to sales organizations and rep organizations.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'd love to show you what it is that we are doing at Pitcher, but also what the technology looks like. So I think it's important for everybody to understand the technology that is available to them. So what I'm going to do now is you are going to see my screen change, and bear with me for one moment because you're going to see yourself. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump straight in to Pitcher. So this is the technology which is available right now. There are thousands of advisors that are using technology like this, and this technology is something which could be in the hands of your advisors in a matter of weeks. And the first point I'd like to just touch on is the advisor experience. And I think it's one thing that's clear is advisors will only use things which make their life easier. And I think it's very important that we just take a quick moment to just kind of reiterate that. If you bring something in that is going to make their life harder, they simply won't use it. So the idea of technology like this is the whole goal is you make the advisor's life easier. If you make their life easier, they're going to use the technology, you're going to get more out of it. So this is what an advisor would see as soon as they access a technology such as Pitcher. You come in and for this webinar, we've created the target wealth management organization. So we've had a little cool logo created for you. But as an advisor, I log in and I can see the most trending content. And if I want to, I can jump into it very quickly and I can start reviewing the most trending content. So this is content that has been created within my organization that is available for me to present and share with clients. So it's compliant. It's not just static content. Within technology such as Pitcher, you're able to actually bring in videos, which is a really nice touch. It's engaging. These are things which are really going to help elevate and educate the advisor. And then this is some of my favorite features. So straight away, this is showing you how technology is able to make me better because it's already telling me. I've been in Pitcher for a matter of moments and I can see that there's 14 new slides to enrich my presentations available to me since I was last in the platform. And there's 2 new marketing templates. I can jump in, I can review those, but for the purpose of time today, I'm just going to move on to the final point of what I just wanted to talk about here, which is this is another really key feature. This is how you elevate your advisors because I'm logging in and I'm seeing that there's a new lesson for me to learn. So there is a course which I can take and start now, the leap from no to yes, navigating customer objections. So things that have changed since I was last in the platform are brought to the forefront of my reality. What I'd like to do now is touch on the part of Pitcher where you're going to start seeing how AI and also integrations are able to change the way an advisor works. And we're still looking at that piece around preparing for the client interaction. So at the minute, I have nothing planned in my calendar, but if I look in, I can see I have the Adams Household webinar meeting starting pretty much now. So I need to be quite quick to prepare for this. So what you're going to see now is a quick insight into how Pitcher is able to help the advisor and how technology now is able to bring everything to the forefront. So what we have here is I have a meeting as an advisor I need to prepare for the Adams household. I can see that they're a high valued, high net worth household. And this is where I can start to get some of the key insights. So this is a perfect example of how technology is now able to integrate into other systems. In this example, this is being leveraged from Salesforce, and that is Target Wealth CRM. So within there, I can see the last time I met with this client was the 10th of December, and I've got the full details of what we discussed. Before the 10th of December 2024, we spoke on the 5th of October, and during that time we qualified that they're comfortable investing around $100,000, but they're not sure what funds, what products to put it into yet. So that's bringing past interactions to the forefront for me. This is where you see a first glimpse of PIA. So PIA in the picture world stands for Pictures Intelligent Assistant. It's AI. So PIA, whilst I have been looking through the insights, is smart enough to be able to look at the Adams household data, the funds that they invest in, their portfolios, and make some smart recommendations of funds that I should be presenting. So if I want to, like I did on the advisor landing page, I can drill into these and start educating myself on these new documents. And then I have key discussion points. So what's great here is all I've done at the moment is click one button, and I've got all of this data available to me, which would have taken half an hour to 40 minutes to find and digest. I've got it in a matter of minutes. In fact, it was seconds. So I've got some key discussion points here as well to start making me think, well, this is what's happened in the past. And I now have a meeting with Adam's household. So how am I now what am I going to talk about? And it's starting to direct my thought process. Well, these are the key discussion points. What I want to do now is take it to the next level. And I want to really show you how AI can start to really change the way you hear me use the term the modern advisor, because I think technology now supports the modern advisor. So what I want to do now is I've got the insight into what's been discussed in the past, and I've started to think about what I should discuss and what I should show. But I want to now make sure that I have a customer specific agenda specific to the Adams household. So what's happening here is it's actually happening before I can explain it, is in this example, PIA, AI, is leveraging all of the past data, the fund data, what they're invested in, and is creating a specific agenda, not just to a client, but to the Adams household. Something which would have taken me, I think, at least half an hour to 45 minutes to really sit and plan and think through is here. Now, the key thing with AI is it's recommendations. It's based on what exists, in this case, in target wealth management's world. I can go in and I can make changes to this if I want to. But in this example, I'm going to say that I agree to this. So now I have an agenda. I've got the account insights. So now how can AI and how can technology help me to create a completely immersive experience? So now I'm thinking and I'm changing my approach to what am I actually going to show the Adams family? So if I click here, again, what's happening? One click, and now I have a experience, and it's not even a presentation, it's an experience. It's immersive. It's designed to bring everything into one place, which is incredibly customer specific. So this is just based on the Adams household. So as an advisor, I can work my way through this, and I can see here it's the Hello Adams household. I've got position your portfolio for 2025 and beyond. I can see my meeting agenda. If I need to, I can make changes. In this case, I'm happy with it. Then it starts to bring in some really key insights and some key data that the client's going to be interested in. So since our last meeting, which I now know was in December 2024, year to date, 25% up increase in performance. The market average is performing at about 10.5%. So this is really key, and I want to keep this in here. Next, this shows you how technology now can also work in multiple languages. We have an overview of their entire fund. Obviously, I'm speaking English today, but this isn't in English. Consciously, I wanted it to look like this for you so that you can see the diversity that is available in technology as well. As we scroll down, you get a first glimpse of what it looks like to look at content within picture. And technology now allows you to jump from different bits of content very, very quickly. So I can sit and go through everything, or I can review it and I can look and jump anywhere I want within the content that's available to me. The next part of AI is around smart recommendations. So what's happening here is AI Pia is able to actually advise me, make me a better version of myself, and highlight things which maybe I hadn't thought about, which I can select and say, yes, I'd like to keep. If I wouldn't, I can just continue. And the next is know your customer. So I think this part is really great. So we're seeing the Adams household. Now I can come in and I can see that there's 3 members of the Adams household. So if I want to look at Scott Adams, I can come down and I can see their financial information. So if I want to, I can see the total investments, I can see the total bank deposits, their insurance, their liabilities. It's all here for me at the click of a button. And then this is where you start to bring in that compliance. So disclaimers, they're being brought in at the correct stage. So when I'm having a meeting, the right disclaimer is being surfaced. So what does that look like? At the minute, it's the planning stage. Even at this stage, I think it's safe to say that technology now is able to create something in a matter of moments, which you could very easily believe that I've spent all morning building. So if I press play here, what's happening now is this is what the client would see. I'm running my meeting now. So this is that back to that point about it's immersive. It's actually allowing you to demand more for your client as well. So as an advisor, this is incredibly professional. It's fluent. It's just easy to navigate. I've got, since our last meeting, you can see now it looks cleaner. We've got your portfolio. I'm going to come in and we've got content here which we're able to jump into. But what's also key is at any point, if you need to, you can jump out and you can jump straight back in to where you were. So technology now it's always listening. So if I look, I'm back exactly where I was. One thing I would like to show you as well, because I think it's really important. And again, it highlights how you're able to bring in external connect to third-party sources. A moment ago, there was information. I'm going to go back because I'd actually like everyone to see this. I think it's very, very important. I think it's very cool as well. So if we have a look here, you can see here, getting data from fund info. So what's a moment ago, these 2 documents weren't here, but because I've come into the classic mandate GBP, what's happened is Picture is smart enough, and now technology is smart enough to leverage those third-party integrations to bring in external compliant and approved content, which you can see here. So one thing I would like to, I'm just going to exit the full screen for you here. One thing I'd like to just reiterate is throughout this whole process, I have been in control. I'm able to choose my agenda. I'm able to cherry pick which content I'd like to bring in. On a compliance point of view, I can't change the content, but I can choose what comes in. So I am in control of what I'm going to be showing to my client. At the end of this interaction, I'm able to share this as well. So this whole experience is designed to be delivered in person, but it's also designed to be able to be sent to the client. So when they leave the meeting, everything we've discussed is here. They can go through it, they can digest it, they can come back to me as their advisor. Tom, I'd like to get some questions. I've got some questions around this. What I'm going to do briefly is I'm going to stop sharing, Bridget, because I'm very conscious I've taken a lot of time and we've still got a couple more things to cover.
That's great, Tom. Thank you. I think that what you just sort of closed on there at the conclusion of that live demo was around just the ease of integration into your tech stack. So it doesn't really matter what tech stack your financial institution is using. These platforms can integrate seamlessly, and that they also provide access to real-time data and analytics. We've got a really short video we can show on how that is done as well. I can roll that now if you just want to talk through what that's showing us here.
Yeah. So I think we touched on this a moment ago, how technology now is able to leverage external systems. What you're seeing here is how Picture, in this case, is able to integrate with third-party systems to pull in things like portfolio overviews. And what you'll see in a moment is you can take it a step further, where what you're seeing here is the way that we have content which is able to be very immersive, very easy to navigate. But on this next slide, well, this next section of the video, you're going to see a really lovely example of how we can leverage third-party integrations. So what we're doing here is we are still within Picture, but now we're actually bringing in the Financial Times. And it's not just a static image, it's interactive, it changes, it updates. So through the integrations, we're able to bring this to the fingertips of the advisor, and we're actually able to now bring this into the client experience as well, without having to jump from multiple platforms. And I think that brings me back to the point about Picture and technology now. You should be demanding the most futuristic, up-to-date technology that changes the client experience, because they're going to trust you and they're going to take your advice, and they're fundamentally going to decide whether they invest more with you or they don't. And the delivery of the meeting, the delivery of the messaging and the advice is absolutely business critical. And this is another perfect example of how Revenue Enablement 2.0 is becoming a business critical system.
Yeah, absolutely. And then finally, obviously, the importance of end-to-end compliance, which is always on the forefront of anyone working in the financial institution industry. And these technology tools, that is table stakes for them at this point.
Yeah, and I think here a bit of a closing point here, because I think it's very important, is personalization shouldn't mean compliance slip-ups. You should be able to allow your advisor to personalize the experience for their client, but still maintain the control and the compliance. So within Picture, you're able to build these pitch decks. You're able to customize them to a level. You can cherry pick what content you're bringing in. You can customize the agenda. You can leverage the data that's available to you, but you can't change anything that is going to create a compliance issue. So it's things like surfacing the right disclosure at the right time. It's being able to, if you want to, you can even now capture signature and consent to move forward with an investment. It can all be done in a very compliant way. And shown in Picture is automatically recorded and updated. In the example we showed you there, it would be Salesforce. So from preparation to follow up, everything is managed, everything is controlled. You've got that end-to-end compliance, which is a massive, massive thing for organizations to be able to bring in technology like this.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up and head into Q&A, a couple key takeaways from today. Obviously, embracing the step-by-step AI integration. Find the surest path to how your organization wants to adopt AI, and typically that's done in the most the stage of most critical need of support in the client engagement process. Is your organization facing inefficiencies in the preparation part of the process? Is it the management of pitch decks and the ability to pull dynamic content? Is it in the follow-up? Where is the most critical need, and how can AI and the use of these technology tools support that? And then through points 1 and 2 here, you really will be bringing about a more modern engagement experience. And that is really what is demanded from customers at this point. So as we head into Q&A, feel free to leave any additional questions for us. We do have a couple of questions in there now. And the first two are centered around, for instance, the first question is, I'm a compliance officer in a Boston-based wealth firm. Do you have clients operating in highly regulated environments? And the second question is around the closed AI part and the security there versus some solutions that have open AI. Operating in highly regulated environments, privacy concerns. Tom, can you address those?
Yeah, so I think we're talking today around wealth management, investment management, asset management. That's one part of what Picture does. So I think if I'm to answer the question, which was around compliance and highly regulated markets, I think external to the wealth management, asset management, we actually have tens and tens of thousands of medical reps using a system such as, like, very much like this picture. And that is probably one of the most compliant. The health, life science, pharma market is probably one of the most compliant markets out there. For medical reps to simply leave a brochure, they have to capture physical consent from the doctor in the hospital to be able to do that. So to answer the question, yes, we are. We're not just working in this area. We're working in some incredibly complex and compliant markets. And then I think the other piece, Bridget, to your question was around closed AI versus open AI. So AI it's still relatively new. It's something which IT and compliance are really still learning how can they bring it into their environment, their ecosystem. With Picture, what we've seen today is closed AI. So in a very simple term, it will only pull information from within your ecosystem. It doesn't go external. So you're removing the risk of bringing anything external to your organization into the reality of the user via AI. When you've got organizations which are using open AI, there's a lot more risk on a compliance side of things, because you can access data from essentially anywhere in the world. So at the moment, everything you saw today is closed AI. It gives you that compliance, and it gives you that certainty that you're not going to have compliant issues when it comes to AI. I think in the future, will it move towards it? Maybe one day, but there's a lot that needs to change to safeguard and protect organizations before it goes to that level.
We've got another question around, and we touched on it a little bit in the conversation, and happy to entertain these questions in more depth, one-to-one in follow-up. But openness or integration to other services, the solution to other services, is that do you have to work with Teams? Do you have to work with Salesforce? Are there any limitations on openness to services? And the answer to that is no.
Yeah, the easiest answer is no. To expand on it a bit, I think technology like this only works if it's able to come into an organization and be non-disruptive. So it's going to be disruptive on the level that it's going to elevate and it's going to change, and it's really going to change the way individuals work. It's going to be non-disruptive in the sense that you don't have to change anything to put a system like Picture in. The whole idea is it's built to be able to integrate with any system that you would like it to speak to.
And the last question is, what does onboarding or implementation look like?
So I think when you talk about bringing in a new piece of technology, straight away, members of IT teams will worry that this is going to be a year-long process. It's going to be incredibly complex. Technology such as this is able to be implemented in a matter of weeks. An example external to wealth management, we have consumer goods organizations which have gone from 0 to over 1,000 reps in the space of 10 days. We have organizations which have deployed with full integrations within 6 weeks. I think with where technology is now, technology like this is literally available within a matter of weeks if you want it to be.
Yeah, great. That's all the questions that we have. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. This is our direct contact information. Reach out. We'd love to continue the conversation. We will be sending a recording of this webinar today to all those who registered and attended. So thank you so much for joining us, Tom. Thanks for walking us through the way that these technology solutions can really bring about a big impact in wealth and asset management's lives every day.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thanks, everyone, for having us. Thank you. Thanks for joining us.